What's up, guys? Welcome to Podcast 412, Fight for Purity. A bold way of looking at challenges that young people are facing. We'll talk about the naked truth of life and how to handle the problems you're thinking but not talking about. So strap in, get ready for another great podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. So we're on our second part of our podcast, and we've been talking about Storge love, and we're going to continue and kind of conclude with the family and how all those pieces fit together. And but before we get started, we're going to have a fun fact with Ted's.
Fun facts with Ted. Okay, so because of women's 2X chromosomes, we have a higher and a stronger immune system than men do. All because we have the 2X chromosomes.
So we have 2X. So X. Okay.
Maybe that's why guys, when they get sick, they're dying. You know? Yeah. Just kidding.
You can't handle it, right?
I think they call it like the man flu or something like that.
A man cold.
I feel like if my husband gets sick, it's also more intense. Yeah, than when we get sick or if I get sick. Like his is more like.
Well, I mean,
that's what I noticed.
We still go about our day.
My son and my husband got both really sick. They had like really intense fevers, and like I got sick. Like my throat felt a little scratchy.
Yeah.
And I was tired.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah. Oh. But it's probably because we're moms, maybe.
Yeah.
And we have to take care
Of the babies.
of the
You don't have time to be sick.
Yeah. Not allowed to be sick. So last week we talked about kind of how a family affects like the economy and the political. I don't think most of us really think about it, but yeah. So, I mean, but if you like logically think about it, in order for humans to survive, you have to.
Have kids.
Yeah, you have to have kids in order to keep the population going. Because, if you think about, I know we're not animals. Well, I don't think we're animals. So, but, like they talk about extinction. And they're always trying to save, like, these extinct animals. Because they know if they don't reproduce and they don't get them, they're going to disappear. And I think it's the same with the human population. But I don't think people think about that when they think about their, eliminating children or getting rid of kids or not wanting to have kids. So yeah, that's one of the things that we talked about last week. And so I mean, you could go into I think deep statistics and talk about how much
A family has an impact on the economy.
yeah, just like, cause I think one of the things we talked about was like the workforce. I mean, the more kids you have, the bigger your workforce is going to be. The less kids you have, the smaller your workforce is going to be. So, and and then the generation, like my generation, we're going to get older and obviously not be able to work, not be able to, provide or, put into the economy. So, but yeah, people don't think about that. So we're going to continue. One of the things that it talks about, that I looked at, it does talk about, that when you're like in a good, healthy family structure, you're more likely to thrive than just survive. But you actually thrive which there's a difference, And it talks about you're also able to acquire the human capital that you need to succeed in a competitive global economy. So when you're raised in a stable 2-parent family, there's a lot of stuff. I don't know if I want to go into all of it. It says that indeed in countries as divergent as Sweden and the United States, children born to married parents are markedly more likely to see their parents remain together. So that's good. Children do better when they enjoy stable routines with stable caregivers. I think one of the things we talked about sometime is just even like eating at the
Table.
the
Being
table.
present, I think is what we're talking about. Yeah.
And I think one of these studies, I don't know which one because I looked at a few, but they did talk about how important that is to kids. And I think it's because you talk to your kids. So, and a lot of people don't do that anymore. So,
Yeah. random note too. I saw a video today. It was a high school class, but the teacher was teaching the kids. It was technically like for dating, like when you're like on a blind, not a blind date, but you're meeting somebody for the first time. And he had to teach them how to start a conversation, like how to converse with each other, like what are the kind of questions you ask, should you sit down, should you pull the chair out. And even one of the kids said, he's like, we're learning this, he's like, because he's like he's like, we don't really talk to each other, he's like, we're on our phone a lot, he's like, so it's really awkward. He's on when we're sitting across and talking to people. And like, and I think it is, and I think that's a part of that, like you said, because families don't really do that anymore. You don't just talk about your day with people or engage in conversation with strangers anymore.
There was even a news segment on how to connect with people in real life.
You mean face to face?
Yeah. I was like, oh, they have to that's a thing now.
Well, yeah, because I don't think they realize that. You're talking to people like Instagram, or maybe you're talking to them like with the phone, but you're literally not face to face.
Yeah.
You're not talking.
Like, it's different.
Yeah. And they spend so much time. I went to the park the other day to go, run. And I would say I was there at least an hour. And I saw a girl there for a whole hour just on her phone, just like this. For a whole I think she went there to exercise, because I saw her run or walk once around the field, but then that was it. And then the rest of the time she was
on her phone.
She had to do her video.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was all like, but it's so true that it's like such a simple thing that people can't do, but yet how important it is.
You miss so much.
Yeah.
Because we were in the car driving here, and me and my husband were sitting in the car, and I was looking at something on my phone, and he just starts laughing. I'm like, what are you laughing at? And he's like, you just missed it. And I was like, missed what? And he's like, 2 people almost got in a fight. He's like, they were outside of their cars, and it was just a matter of 2 minutes, and he's like, they were outside just about to fight, and you missed it,
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I know it's not anything important, but
yeah, you missed out. Yeah,
That's hilarious.
but it's true, and you don't realize that you're teaching them social skills just by sitting around and just talking, and just even letting them air whatever silliness or
Well, I mean, I remember when we used to come home from school, snacks, obviously, it promotes talking. But it helps, I don't know, it helps you, de-stress, I don't know, release the things that have happened that day, because, you're happy now because you have food, for one. That just makes a difference, Being hungry isn't good for anybody. But, you don't realize it, but you're letting it out, and you're not realizing that whoever you're with, when you're letting it all out, is practicing their listening skills. Because they're asking you questions, about what happened, really, about what, and then you're practicing just learning how to feel comfortable with somebody. Learning how to just talk with them and vent without getting crazy too. You can just talk. And
Well,
go ahead.
well, my kids, when I talk to them at school, about what happened and stuff, in that moment, if there's something going on, or maybe they missed it, you can teach them how to work through some of the issues and stuff. But if you never have conversations, your kids will never learn and think, maybe some behaviors are normal that aren't, or, because even some stuff, I was talking to my son, that kind of sounds like you're kind of getting bullied, maybe, and maybe you should stay away, or what a good friend is or not. But if you don't have conversations, you can't ever teach them anything.
And I think it builds your confidence, because you know that somebody's listening to you. I don't think you're thinking that as a child, but I think you grow, and your parents listen to you, and they interact with you, and they give feedback, or they tell jokes or whatever, But I think it really does make such a difference. So, but the family is important. So, I mean, if there's one good tip that you can take as a parent is have dinner with your kids. With your kids, at a table, and
no
just
electronics.
No electronics, because we don't usually talk. We don't usually. There might be a phone nearby, but it's just because we're used to talking, and we're used to eating. We don't. Nobody's usually on their phone, most of the time. I'm pretty sure.
Scrolling away while we're podcasting.
Nobody's. Just we're looking for information or something. Or if I say, hey, you look up. But otherwise, because we're used to it already. And some people aren't. They're just they don't know how to at least like you said.
I guess I think just even realizing now, like I know as soon as someone talks to me, I put down my phone. Yeah. But I think it's because I was raised that way. Like it could be just a question, but I put down my phone because it's almost to me like disrespectful if I'm looking at my phone and you're trying to talk to me. Yeah. But I was taught that though. And then plus I didn't have a phone growing up either, so I'm just used to not having access.
It was learned though too. Like we learned like as we got a phone. Yeah. Too like oh hey, let's put that down. Yeah. Because like even just like in our own like when I'm talking to somebody and if they're I'm not really listening.
Yeah. Like missing everything.
Yeah. And it's so important. I think especially the more that we have access to computers, and I mean obviously I have a computer, or you have an iPad, or you have an iPad.
We're not giving our full attention.
I think it's easier to give your kids your full attention when you don't have all those things. But right now it's easier to just say, go watch something or go. It's easy to do that, as a parent, and so I think we have to be mindful of that. So, but it also says that if you don't have like a stable family, you're more likely to be without a college degree, land in prison, or have a teen pregnancy. So, yeah. It says, for instance, teenage boys from single and step-parent families were at least 60% more likely to have spent some time in prison later in life, and teenage girls from single and step-parent families were at least 67% more likely to end up pregnant compared to their peers from intact married families.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I had my daughter at 16.
Yeah.
And I didn't like have talks with, my mom.
My mom did.
We didn't like have conversations. She was too busy, worried about her relationships.
Yeah.
Outside of us.
Yeah.
And my dad wasn't around, so it was like I was getting advice. I think I've talked about it like in previous podcasts, like advice from friends that they didn't even know what they were doing either. We're all like just trucking along.
Leading the blind.
Yeah. And I think when you grow up without your dad, you're looking for that, like acceptance and that love.
Yeah, even if you don't realize.
Well, I think not even that. You look to your parents for references on how to treat each other. You know what I mean? What's acceptable in your home will be acceptable to you later on, or not acceptable, depending.
Well, yeah, and even the standard, like, because my mom and dad used to throw stuff across the room. But, like, even if it's like, oh, well, this guy doesn't yell at me, he doesn't throw stuff, so he must be, so, like, your standard, you have a little bit higher than your family, but it's not, like, he's all right, so.
Not like, okay, so I'm going to read this. It says they also did a study of the population of Swedish children, and it found that children in single-parent families were about twice as likely as children in two-parent families to suffer from psychiatric problems, to attempt suicide, or to be addicted to drugs and alcohol. It says children are most likely to flourish economically, socially, and emotionally when they are raised in an intact two-parent family. So yeah. I mean, it's just, doesn't mean, like I said, that, if you're single.
Doomed.
Yeah. I was raised by a single parent, and so I can attest to all those, to all those things that you do suffer, like, just in so many ways, and
I think life's just harder.
Yeah.
Just in general when the
because
family's not there.
Yeah, because if it's unstable, like you said, if you live in a family where there's, like, domestic violence, you're just prone to handle conflict differently. You'll throw things, or you'll yell, or because that's how, one thing I know I realize is that, when you're mad, when you're like in a dysfunctional family, you do tend to like be more violent, because that's just how you were taught. And so you take that with you when you're trying to work on relationships. That's how you.
Oh yeah, because you don't know how else to handle it.
You're supposed to fight. You got to duke it out. Just kidding. Yeah, you gotta fight. So, but that's kind of how you do. That's what you do. I mean, that's what we did. So yeah, so it's better to have a stable family. Okay, guys. Also, well, we said that you tend to thrive more. Let me see. You're more likely because you receive more attention and affection, and there's more levels of structure and discipline. Um, so you just enjoy a higher quality of life when there's structure, and I guess that's important. Just the whole structure of it being healthy.
Yeah.
So
Well, you're going later on in life trying to figure out how to structure your life.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, not even that. Like you learn that there are consequences to your actions, like in every way. Like even as a teacher, you are taught one of the first things is that you need to have some kind of classroom structure. You can't just let the kids go willy nilly, otherwise
They will.
chaos. They run over you, crazy things happen, somebody gets hurt because people aren't sitting down because you never taught them you need to stay in your seats. Somebody's yelling, nobody's heard because nobody was taught take turns talking.
Yeah, boundaries, all that,
Yeah.
the whole boundary stuff. And like I said, that's probably gonna be a thread through everything that we do.
Our first season.
First
Yeah.
If you're
season,
just tuning in,
Watch the first season.
yeah,
boundaries is important.
yeah, and it's important in everything, like even in families, and so yeah. Mm, it says children in the United States are significantly less likely to flourish in families when they do not enjoy high quality relationships with their fathers. Adolescents who reported the lowest quality relationships or no relationship with the father were at least 55% more likely to not have graduated from college, more likely to have been incarcerated at some point, and 93 more likely percent to have a teen pregnancy. So yeah, so that keeps coming up.
It's like stuff reading the statistics of my life.
But yeah,
Exposure.
Hey, but it's true. Hey, but I never got pregnant when I was a teenager, so I was spared from that. But that was probably true for my siblings. So I think all of my siblings. Let me see. Not when they were teen. They probably got pregnant when they were older. I think only one of my older sister was pregnant when she was 17. I think the rest of my sisters got pregnant when they were like 19, 20.
Adult-ish.
Yeah, they were a little bit older, so there were still some values I think that people held to
Yeah.
even then.
Well,
so.
me and my sisters were all teen pregnancies. we have different, like, I have a different dad than my sisters.
Yeah,
So our family is all blended and chaotic.
yeah. So I don't know if you guys want to, because I could just keep reading statistics now.
And then we'll just be like, true.
Yeah, true. It says poverty, unemployment, and other forms of material deprivation that parents may not be able to supply to their children, whatever. Yeah, so good. Well, yeah. So that is true that you tend to be more on the lower economic level when you don't have a two-parent.
Well, yeah.
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 I mean, that seems obvious, but people don't think about that. Like, they just don't think about things like that. Well, let me just go do whatever,
Well, the consequences, what you're talking about, we don't think about the consequences or how your actions are going to affect your life in the future.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you have talks with your parents, I know with my kids, I've had talks with them, like, well, this is what happens, if you do this, or that, how you said, let the movie play out first, or
Yeah.
whatever, but like I didn't think about consequences. I didn't think like, hey, what kind of guy is this guy gonna be like when he's older? Does he have any goals? Or, I didn't think about any of that stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've mentioned it in a past. I think last season we talked about how like a lot of our issues and the consequences in our life now are from when we were teenagers.
Yeah.
Like they're not even from like the decisions we made this past year.
Yeah.
They're from when we were like 15.
Yeah.
We're still coming along with that.
They've stayed with us. So like it's so crazy to think that as a teenager your family is super important for you, and like just knowing that the decisions in your life right now, like it follows you. It really does. There's no escaping it. There's no escaping where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Like how you grew up, there's no escaping it.
Yeah.
And we're just kind of telling you like you can manage it still.
Yeah. That's important to like like the family's important.
Yeah.
You know, not any the family, the father, the mom, and the child. You know, and people like to argue, well, you know, well, yeah, of course you can raise a child in a single family home.
It's hard.
Yeah, of course it's possible, but you have, I'm sure, more challenges.
Oh yeah.
Way more challenges. You know, and then even as a child of a single parent, even that makes you different, and you handle things differently, and you know you take that, like you said, into your relationships. So yeah, because that's another story. So that's another podcast somewhere. But yeah, but it says teenagers from poor families were 123% more likely to fail to graduate from college.
Oh my gosh.
So
I didn't even go to college.
yeah, so you're just
Have yet to
120.
finish.
That's a big percent if you come from a single or from poor families. So yeah. So there's just there's so many things that it's a major
Well, no accountability and stuff. Like I have like credits for college, and I just have to finish. Like it probably take me like maybe 2 semesters and I'd be done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, just accountability, even the procrastination, because there's no accountability.
Yeah.
You know, I've never had accountability. I just kind of move along.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to read what other stuff there's here. So, okay, that was kind of the end of that article. But, but yeah, I guess we just want to end on that note is that Storge love, you need it from your parents, you need it from your mom, you need it from your dad, you need it from your siblings. So it's just like an important foundation to society.
Yeah. And if you have it,
Be grateful.
be grateful and try and like
Nurture it.
strengthen it. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have siblings that you're like, ugh,
Yeah.
try and find something to get
To
along with
fix,
them.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if your relationship with your parents is iffy, try and work it out so that your life and their life, like it gets
Well,
better.
Be grateful that you have
That you have both of them.
that you
there.
have both of your parents, because that's such a rare thing nowadays.
Yeah. And if you don't, there's not. All hope is not lost.
Yeah.
You know.
And then, if anything, it'll help you understand why you struggle with certain things than
Yeah.
other people. Because I know that sometimes when you're younger, you don't understand, like, why do I do that?
Yeah.
Like, a part of you knows that it's wrong, and you're like, well, I don't know why
Yeah.
I did that. Like, but I think it helps to understand where it's coming from.
Yeah. Where's my insecurities coming from, or why do I not feel like? Because I know one of the things we talked about last week was like identity. Like you find identity in your family, but when you don't have that, then you're looking for it
And something else.
with something else or someone else, or that's probably why you end up turning to the drugs or to a relationship, because you're trying to find an identity outside of your home. So it's important. So yeah, do you guys agree?
the
Yeah,
Storge
agree.
love is important.
Yeah.
Love is important in
Yes,
your life.
yes, yeah. And like you said, if you don't have it,
There's ways to supplement. I
Yeah.
guess like not like kind of support you still.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
there's
to where if you have a family in the future, like I'm learning how to give that, and I'm learning from it too now. Like I didn't have that growing up, but now it's happening.
yeah,
It's happening.
yeah. Now you're learning.
Yeah.
Hopefully with this. So next week we're gonna talk about was it phileo? I don't know if that's it's-
filio.
filio or phileo. There's something else too. There was another one that you called it. I don't remember what it was when we first started. And I said, "Is that phileo?" You're like, "No." But I think it's phileo and something else. I don't remember. But that's
figure it
the
out.
friendship love. So that one is going to be very interesting because
Just
Good.
building off of
building off of everything. So the first one, Storge love, that's the one that you experience at the
First.
very
Yeah.
first. That's the one that you grew up around, and then that's probably going to determine
How you
how you deal with friendships.
how you deal with friendships, or the kind of friendships that you choose in your life. So so that's a big. I think
Buckle up.
yeah. I heard somebody say they said that if you look at the friends that you have now, or like the friend, that's kind of you're looking into like your future, depending on the kind of friends that you have. Like, what are they like now? Like, what kinds of friends do you have? Do you have friends that like are into drugs and alcohol? Do you have friends that are like into like the education, or friend? You know, what kind of friends do you have? It kind of give you a picture of what it's gonna be like later for you. So I think most of us could probably look back and think, you know what, that's probably true. So your friends are a good indicator.
Well, thank you.
So yeah.
friends that I have.
So yeah. So we're gonna talk about friends. So there's gonna be an interesting topic. So, but thank you guys for joining us. We have to get used to this camera because we're used to looking that way. So thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Thanks for listening. Join us for our next podcast. You can contact us through Instagram at podcast412 or email us at 412fight@gmail.com. See you next time.